Let me ask one question.
वेलकम बैक इलेक्शन 2020 खुश आमदेद जी आया नू आपसे फिर मुलाकात हुई लास्ट सेगमेंट है आखिरी सेगमेंट है और इस सेगमेंट में हम 3 सेगमेंट्स होंगे डायरेक्ट से बात करेंगे नईम साहब से और कंक्लूजन में अपने कम्युनिटी मेंबर्स को एक्नॉलेज करेंगे उनकी सर्विसेज को अ मोमेंट ऑफ साइलेंस एंड प्रेयर फॉर देम एट द एंड ऑफ द प्रोग्राम Derek, picking back up, you were talking about the criminal justice system. Go ahead.
Yes, and specifically with respect to criminal justice reform, my mother was part of the system. She, throughout my life, before her passing, had a drug issue that she dealt with, and it pretty much is what killed her. But
sorry to hear that.
No problem. But ultimately, she did raise me, and she put me or is responsible for who I am today. But the criminal justice system, like I said, I've been on both sides of the criminal justice system. She's also been part of that same system, and I know the discrepancies or the disproportionate sentences that are issued out throughout our country with regards to different crimes, different harmless crimes, meaning crimes that are not harming other people. With respect to maybe different drug crimes, cocaine, for instance, is a felony as opposed to a pill case, which is typically used by maybe more fortunate.
So rich and poor disproportionality.
Yes, exactly.
That
rich and poor
sad.
disproportionate.
That is sad. And what would you do about that?
I mean, they need to be treated the same, but more than anything, both of them are an addiction. An addiction is a healthcare issue. It's not a criminal issue. It's not something someone should be locked up for. And so
if I was to say that crime committed and the sentence rendered for that, it really depends on the race and color and your financial background, will I be making the right statement?
The crime committed...
same crime is committed, like same type of crime. You mentioned crack cocaine, you mentioned prescription drug abuse, right? One seems to be committed by not financially that blessed community, and other is maybe more financially stable community.
Yes.
But you're saying sentences are so different because of that?
Sentences are different because of that.
So that is alarming. And you've been a prosecutor, and
Yes.
that is alarming. Going into the Congress, and before I go to the next question, Naeem Saab, CAPSA, Coalition of Americans for Political and Social Awareness. What is the end game? What is the goal? What are you bringing to the community as a contribution?
As a matter of fact, CAPSA's main goal is to create awareness about political and social issues, and what we have been involved on grassroots level. We are trying to actually meet candidates, bring them to community, and let candidates tell community what their platforms are and how can they help our community when they get elected.
So you're bridging the gaps.
Yes, we are bridging the gaps. And the other thing is we want to keep people informed what kind of social issues are there, at the same time how community need to learn to stand up against crime against humanity. I give you a small simple example of Kashmir. Kashmir has been a burning issue, and we have been trying to create awareness that how genocide is being committed, but nobody's...
And a lot of our elected
Yes.
officials didn't even know.
Yes, because a lot of elected officials, we are trying to actually, with our friends and experts, we go to different congressmen, we met Michael McCall's office, and we are meeting other
So
local...
you're continuing to meet.
Yes.
During the break, you were telling me you want to ask a question to Derek. What is that?
That was actually, I want to ask you what you think of crime against humanity. I mean, how do you support people? I mean, being a Congress member, you will be dealing with the crime against humanity on international level.
So let me
how you
rephrase the
will
question, I guess. Inhumane treatment of humanity based on the political and geographical conflicts. How do you see that as a congressional candidate?
Yeah, that is...
How do I see the inhumane treatment of
Others, yes.
Others.
In general.
I mean, that's definitely something that I'm against, and I think I mentioned it on the last time I was visiting with you, that the Kashmir issue, for instance, is definitely a huge human rights issue, and it's something that this country cannot turn its back on, and that we, as congressmen and women, have to make sure that we address any human rights issue ultimately. But
Over 3 months of curfew,
understand.
Yes.
maybe over 4 months of curfew.
Yeah, it's almost 4 months now.
A mom not being able to get the prescription drugs,
Yeah.
Kids can get to
kids
school.
arrested and incarcerated so that the others cannot protest. Military might at its fullest against the harmless, innocent, and people who cannot defend themselves. So that's what's going on, Mr. Derek. And some of the congressional colleagues from one side or the other side actually not only were mum about it, they made appearances to support that. What would you say to those colleagues?
That supported this.
Not, I wouldn't say they became partners in that, but those who are committing that, like Prime Minister Modi, he came to Houston, and during his visit to the United States, a lot of folks, sometimes you don't have to make a statement, you just show up. So what would you say to those who actually showed up for a photo op during when all this was going on and all the world was up in arms, what's happening in Kashmir and in regards to curfew?
And I definitely can't speak, I don't know what the conversations were with anyone that showed up.
What you would have said to the Prime Minister of India?
I would have asked him, does he not see, or has he recognized the human rights issue here? My congressional colleagues, the same thing. It would have been, we need to make sure that we're addressing this human rights issue. We need to make sure that we're addressing not the conflict, but the human rights issue and the treatment of people.
If and
like
when
you said.
elected, Derek, will you plan to visit land of Kashmir, the Valley of Kashmir?
If that's available to me, most definitely. I think that, that answer depends really on the committees that I'm on, and so. But if that's available as part of one of the committees that I'm on, and it would make sense for me, being from this diverse district, to be on a committee, foreign affairs. Something that would allow me to visit, Kashmir and other countries that are represented in this district.
Goal in the end game, नाजरीन, हमारे लिए ये है कि हमारा मुल्क, United States of America, our country, with its strength and might, we cannot afford to be a political side to oppression. Derek सामने सवाल किया कि what would you do about being a political side in oppression? And आपने जवाब दिया कि ना सिर्फ ऐसा नहीं होगा, I will, if availed and if available to me, will keep it on my agenda to visit the land of Kashmir or any other land in which the human rights violations are happening. Human rights violation is one thing dear and close to everyone and all of us, and we just cannot turn the blind eye. Derek, you from being a representative of Black American community, do you still see discrimination against the Black community here in the United States in our corridors of power?
You still see that.
Yes, most definitely, without a doubt. I mean, I could give you many stories. Even when I first got elected in Pearland, I'll never forget. There's a couple stories that I could give you. I know we don't have time for it. Maybe next episode,
segment we'll pick it up on there. But tell us.
Yes.
But tell us a little bit.
I love my city. Love this district. But it was very evident. When I first got elected in 2015, actually it was voting day. Me and my brother went into a Shipley's Donuts, and my brother told me, hey, look, you need to make sure that you pass out flyers to everybody in here. I mean, today's voting day, right? It's the last day. And so I went and did that while he was buying donuts. And I went up to a table, and there were 3 guys there. I passed them out, gave one to each of them. One of them looked at it, he balled it up. Another guy said, I'll never vote for,
Quote unquote.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what gives you, the right to think that you can, can win.
And I will take this message in Urdu and English in our closing remarks. Yeah. You have any power statement you want to make before we close the program?
I do, definitely, and thank you. I mean, I want to make sure that the viewers know and everybody listening knows that I am this district. I represent all parts of this district, meaning we talked about it being diverse, meaning culturally diverse, but it's also economically diverse. From where I come from, the way I grew up, with a single mom who had drug issues. I've gone through all of the low-income things that you can think of. You know, no lights, no food. I've been all of that. It's not something that I talk about. It's something that I am about and was about. I'm also a business owner. I'm a dad. You know, my kids go to school in this district. And so I understand the different aspects socially, economically, of the people of this district. And that's what makes me the best person to represent the people of this district. Not just you know, one particular community, not just the black community or white community or any other specific community, everybody in this district. And so that's why I'm asking for the support of
And we wish you best of luck.
Thank you.
Derek said he have lived there so that he can tell the story. Derek said he have fasted so that he can prescribe a cure of the social injustice, economical injustice, and all the other issues which impact life of an average Delhi American. Ladies and gentlemen, before we go to the closure remarks of the program, in Urdu and English, I would like to acknowledge the services and of late Mushtaq Artani, one of the Pakistani community member, Muslim community member of Houston, who passed away, and his funeral was yesterday. And we have a caller as well, I'm told. But I would like to take this moment for Brother Mushtaq Artani and send my condolences to Mr. Tamim Artani, who is his son, wife, and 4 daughters, and Asif and Shahid, his son-in-laws. You know, your father was a true trooper. Even before he died, he donated to the society approximately 4 to 5 acres of land to build a community center and a mosque there, a place of worship. And you know, also like to acknowledge the contribution of the late Mr. Asafi. Tahir Asafi passed away, and he left us last week. May God bless both of their souls and give the patience for the grieving families to deal with this great loss. In regards to Brother Mushtaq Artani, there is a remembrance vigil tonight. You know, there will be a gathering at Maryam Masjid in Sugarland area, so viewers are welcome to join that. You know, after, I believe it's after Maghrib. It's around 5:30ish to 7:30. We have Fort Bend County Chair Cynthia. Before we do the closing remarks on this program with Derek for Election 2020, Miss Cynthia, welcome on air.
Oh, hello. How are you? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Miss Cynthia. We missed you.
Well, thank you so much. I am attending a kickoff for one of our many candidates that we will have in the March primary. So that is why I could not be up there at the studio today. But I will come next time. How about that?
Well, we welcome you. You took the time to call, and welcome on show. Any parting thoughts? We are about to conclude our session for today. Any parting thoughts for us as the chair of our Fort Bend County Democratic Party?
Yes. I would like to remind everyone that we have several elections coming up. If you live in the city of Houston, that runoff is scheduled for Saturday, December 14th. And early voting will be in full force December 2nd, that week. So those who are in the city of Houston, we ask that you go out and vote for Mayor Turner and the Democratic candidates for city council. And then in January, in Fort Bend, we will have the runoff race for Eliz Markowitz for House District 28.
Awesome news.
So we have a lot coming up. We want everybody to stay tuned and make sure they get out and vote.
All right, and our program is open, folks. If any county executive from either of the party would like to call in, you're welcome. Cynthia, any comments for Derek Reed? He's running for election 2020, Congressional District 22.
Yes, actually, we have 3 candidates running for Congressional District 22. We have Derek Reed, we have Nyan Zamore, and we have 3 Preston Kulkarni. Mm-hmm. And I don't take sides in primaries.
Of course.
So we wish them all well.
All right. True Democratic spirit there. Derek Reed in District 22. Cynthia, so much for being with us. We really appreciate you coming on the call.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. And
all right.
All right. And control room was trying to tell me, I guess, something that I couldn't hear. You can repeat from control room what you. Okay. So Derek Reed, we are in the last minute of program, and folks, City of Houston runoff. We don't endorse any candidates, but at the same time, we from TV1 USA on Election 2020 request everyone to be part of the process. Come out and vote your conscience.
Your favorite.
And yes, Derek.
The early voting actually starts this Wednesday in the city of Houston, and then it ends and picks back up December 2nd. So November 27th is the first day of early voting.
And thank you for
from
bringing
7
that
to
up.
7.
We need a congressional
Yeah.
person who knows his dates. That's good. And Mr. Naim, if you don't mind posting all those dates on
Sure.
Facebook also through CAPSA.
Definitely.
Derek, thank you so much for coming to the program.
Thank you for
We'll
having
do the concluding minute now. Ladies and gentlemen, Election 2020 will determine the fate of our country, which direction we are taking. The walls of hatred erected, will they be, thrown down and demolished with the immense love of our community? Will we come beyond this hatred and division which has been infested in the power corridors of our country? Will we finally give up this rhetoric of division on the basis of ethnicity, religious background, and the community we belong to, our financial opportunity presented to all of us as Americans? Stay strong, stay with America. Election 2020. Your host Muhammad Ali, Derek Reed, and Naim Raja says good evening to you, good afternoon to you, depending on where you are right now. God bless America, and God bless all over the world. God bless everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.